Ethereum is on the brink of surpassing its previous 2017 all-time high. Today we're going to take a look at my previous Bitcoin to Ethereum trade, how that's going, and what are the next steps from here. What should we do? Hey guys, my name is Sheldon Evans, welcome back. Or if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on all of the bell notifications. As you know, YouTube is gatekeeping a lot of the cryptocurrency content here on YouTube. So unless you let them know that you want to see this type of content, you won't be notified. So turn on those notifications. Right on my display right now, you can see that I've got the Ethereum US dollar chart open, and we just about touched the previous 2017 all-time high, but not really. The high, there's not really a consensus on what the previous all-time high price was, but many seem to believe that it was 1448. Right now we're sitting at 1405, and I think we peaked out just shy of that level at 1434. Now, if you look at the previous Fibonacci level or the next Fibonacci level, that would be at the 1448 or 1445 level, somewhere around there. Now, I do believe that we will test this again either later today or by the time you've watched this video, perhaps we have surpassed that all-time high. But what happens next and where do we go from here? So I believe that if Ethereum does surpass this previous all-time high, we enter price discovery mode, meaning that we don't actually have any analysis or any prior knowledge to go over to expect or predict what the next Ethereum price would be, other than Fibonacci levels. So if we look at the current Fibonacci levels right now, that next level is the 1448 level, and then from there we have a trade all the way up to $2,284, $2,300 about would be the next level that we're looking at. This is basically just empty space that Ethereum could shoot a rocket through and try that level. Now, how long could this take? Well, if we compare this to Bitcoin, we'll know that after Bitcoin surpassed its 2017 all-time high, it didn't take very long at all for Bitcoin to then double in price to the $40,000 level. So if Ethereum does do this and surpasses this previous all-time high at 1448, we could very easily see a quick move over a couple days or couple weeks to the $2,300, $2,400, maybe even the $3,000 level, as that would be double of where we are right now. And there's quite a bit of bullish news that we'll go over in a second that could confirm this. But first, we're going to look at the Ethereum trade that I spoke about on the 27th of December. So if you go back to my old videos and you look for this, I can place a link in the corner of this video as well if you'd like to see that, where I made a trade and I traded most of my Bitcoin holdings into Ethereum, even in my HODL portfolio. So that is a portfolio that I usually do not sell. I saw it as an excellent opportunity to then leverage against Bitcoin at its previous or new all-time high of $40,000. I decided to move that Bitcoin into my Ethereum, convert it that way, and so far so good. There were many people that disagreed with that trade, but I'm sitting here smiling right now. So this line is exactly where I made that trade on the 27th of December at 4:30 p.m. And since then, we have seen a massive move to the upside in Ethereum, about 130% move. So that has been really good. Although if I had kept it in Bitcoin, it wouldn't have been as successful. And we can see that by looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So you'll see here's that marking again for where I made the trade on the 27th of December around 4 p.m. Right as Ethereum started outperforming Bitcoin, we did have a bit of a dump again, but then it's outperformed it since then. And if we look at that move as well, we've got close to a 68% move compared to Bitcoin. And again, I say this many times on my channel, my ultimate goal here is not to increase the dollar value of my portfolio. If I'm investing in altcoins, if I'm investing in Ethereum and anything other than Bitcoin, it is useless for me to do that unless I purely outperform Bitcoin. Or it would have been a safer, simpler bet for me to simply keep those holdings in Bitcoin. So instead, I look to altcoins and Ethereum that have the potential to move faster than Bitcoin. And again, majority of the market will do this. It will move faster than Bitcoin purely because of the size of the market cap of those different cryptocurrencies. And I've said this before, a cryptocurrency moving from $1 million to $10 million in market cap is much easier to do than moving from 10 million to 100 million or from 100 million to 1 billion. Those are massive jumps that need a lot of investment in order to make those moves, but smaller micro cap cryptocurrencies make these moves much faster, although there is the downside that there's a higher risk to these trades. So the risk to reward ratio changes dramatically. Although moving into Ethereum wasn't such a risky bet because it is the second biggest cryptocurrency and has a similar performance to that of Bitcoin, which we'll talk about later in this video as well. If we look at the Ethereum trends right now, we can see that Ethereum search trends are at an absolute all-time high as well. But we haven't reached the all-time high of Ethereum. So what does this mean? Is it going to continue going up or will it go down? Well, if we compare it to 2017, when we did hit the previous all-time high, that was on January or December 2017 and January 2018. We peaked at around 79 right now because this chart has simply made this one smaller, and the predicted move is to the downside. Now, is this going to happen? Well, it doesn't really look like that because we haven't even surpassed the previous all-time high of Ethereum. So until we do that, I think these search volumes are going to continue increasing, purely based on the fact that Ethereum is making massive developmental news right now, and it seems to be attracting its own institutional investment alongside Bitcoin. As we know, many large institutions are purchasing Bitcoin right now, and that is actually helping to stabilize the price of Bitcoin. So when we see these dumps in Bitcoin, the price gets bought up very quickly because these institutions are looking for lower entry prices to get into the market. So Bitcoin doesn't stay down for a very long period of time. And because these institutions are making such massive buys, they're not really looking for short-term gains and looking to exit the market. They're in this for the long run. They believe in Bitcoin in the long term. So that is helping stabilize the price. Now, when these institutions start looking for the next Bitcoin or the next big performer or secondary asset to Bitcoin that could then also be used as a store of value, where do they look? To Ethereum, because it's the second biggest cryptocurrency. It's the cryptocurrency with the most news behind it, second to Bitcoin. Yes, there are others like Polkadot, Cardano, Zilliqa, tons of these that I've spoken about in previous videos that are solving many of the problems that Ethereum aims to solve, and solving it faster than Ethereum. Although the network effect of Ethereum is much bigger than these other cryptocurrencies right now. This could change if these other cryptos or these other ecosystems start stealing a lot of the network and adoption from Ethereum and overtaking that. But again, that is a massive feat for these other ecosystems to achieve because of Ethereum's current dominance in the market. Majority of cryptocurrencies and tokens that are launched on top of the Ethereum network and have been doing so for a while. So that supports the network. That, along with the DeFi hype that we saw earlier in 2020, and again moving into more DeFi hype right now, with decentralized finance absolutely taking over the cryptocurrency market. We're seeing more and more money locked up in staking contracts and locked up in smart contracts on the Ethereum network, therefore stabilizing the price and pushing it higher. But how can I say Ethereum is the next Bitcoin? Well, if we go back to what I said in a previous video talking about Ethereum and how it has the potential to absolutely explode this year, if we go back to a tweet by Raoul Pal and his chart analysis here, where he places Ethereum's current price chart over Bitcoin's price chart from 2013 to 2019, and we can see that the blue line right here is very similar, or moving in a very similar way to Bitcoin as it did back in 2013, all the way going up into the 2017 hype at a peak of $20,000. So Ethereum is at a similar price right now to what Bitcoin was at the beginning of the previous bull market. Although there's a lot more interest in Ethereum this time around, and it's not the first time retail investors and institutions are hearing the word Ethereum. Back then it was still relatively new and sort of an unproven concept. But right now, Ethereum has had a lot of hype behind it and has been headlining news websites all around the world. So we could see a very similar massive move to Ethereum as we did see with Bitcoin in 2017. But how is this possible, and why would Ethereum rise in such a major price? Well, one of the major problems that Ethereum is facing right now are the absolutely astronomically high Ethereum gas fees. So these are the fees that are paid to miners on the network to process transactions that go through the Ethereum network. And as you can see, they're pretty much close to the highest they've ever been. We had the spike back in June 2020, July 2020 with a massive DeFi hype. Again, to the middle or end of the year, and again we haven't stabilized lower than we were. We're much higher right now than we've ever been before. So these fees are so high, and it's actually crippling the network because less people are wanting to do these transactions because the fees are basically extortionately high placed on the network by the miners. So what is happening is we've got news that the EIP 1559 protocol is actually ready for deployment. It's ready for release, but there's some disagreement on the network as to when or why or if it should be released. And that is mainly due to miners opposing this change. As you can see here from Tim Baker, if you aren't following him, give him a follow on Twitter if you want some more updates regarding Ethereum. But for what it's worth, I disagree that 1559 is ready to ship right now. Shared my thoughts on Discord, but too long didn't read. Not all clients have an implementation. None has a final one. We still haven't addressed the main pushback from all core devs testing large blocks with large state, ETA a few weeks. So this is incredibly bullish for Ethereum because this was not meant to be implemented this year or potentially much later this year or even next year. But the timeline has been moved up, which means that it's in time for this next bull market, or what we expect to be one of the biggest bull markets we've ever seen. So with this absolutely bullish news, if this does go through, if EIP 1559 does get implemented, we could see absolutely skyrocketing price of Ethereum to levels, like I mentioned before, $20,000, $30,000, maybe even $50,000. Those sound like absolutely insane predictions, but it's absolutely possible because of the one reason that it makes Ethereum a deflationary asset, similar to Bitcoin. Therefore, burning Ethereum every time a transaction is sent, making the supply smaller because there isn't really consensus of how much Ethereum there will always be, or will Ethereum always be an inflationary asset, so there's always more Ethereum being pumped into the network. What this will do is it'll actually turn it into a deflationary asset because the fees will outpace the actual inflation of the network, making it a deflationary asset, so burning more than is being produced. But there seems to be a pushback from miners for this one reason. So as you can see, the EIP 1559 is almost mainnet ready. Hard fork is expected this summer. So the proposal involves a transaction pricing mechanism that includes a fixed network fee per block that is burned and dynamically expands or decreases the block size to deal with temporary congestion. For this purpose, the gas fee is divided into two parts, the base fee and the tip. The base fee of the portion is burned and the tip is then sent to the miner. So this means that the fees are going to be less, but the miners are also going to be paid less. So that's why the miners are in disagreement with this. So not at all surprisingly, ETH miners are rather skeptical about the proposal, given the current bull run and booming DeFi sector. Miners are currently making immense profit from fees alone. And that's pretty much what happened with the DeFi hype. The Ethereum prices absolutely skyrocketed because people were trying to get their money locked up in these smart contracts. These smart contracts were drawing a ton of outside attention and people were trying to enter the Ethereum ecosystem. So miners could therefore set their own prices and only fill the blocks with high priced transactions because those are the only ones that would go through, because they could basically determine the price that people are willing to pay based on supply and demand. Because the demand was so high, the price increased. Now, if we go over to Reddit, you can see that they have been trying to fight back against this proposal, the miners that is. 1559 proposes some great changes for the ETH network, but we are adamantly against the portion that proposes to destroy miner fees. The miners are trying to vote against this, even though they do understand the advantage that this would bring to the network. They're trying to get the part that removes the miner fees or the full miner fee from the network removed from this proposal. Although this alone can hold the price of Ethereum back, because there is so much disagreement right now, until this goes through, we could see some stagnant movement in Ethereum until we have some sort of confirmation that this is going to be implemented. Although I do believe that once this is implemented, Ethereum's price will absolutely skyrocket. And I'm not selling any of my Ethereum until we at least double the previous all-time high at $3,000. And in that time, we could see major dips because we will see some rejection at that previous all-time high of 1448, purely based on the fact that this is a higher price point. Right now we're at 1440. we might even surpass the all-time high in the next couple minutes. Comment down below if it surpassed the all-time high by the time this video is published. So what am I doing in the meantime, and what am I doing with my Ethereum and my Bitcoin? Well, as you know, I'm holding very little Bitcoin right now and instead holding it in Ethereum, and I'm holding it for the long run. I do believe that Ethereum will continue to outpace Bitcoin's growth factor this year and perhaps even in the next bull run in the next 5 years, the next 4 to 5 years. And until Ethereum 2.0 is released, I won't be doing anything with my Ethereum. I'm willing to hold on to it because I do believe that it is the next major asset, even though there are competitors like Cardano and Polkadot and Zilliqa, which I'm invested in all of them, hedging against the fact that perhaps it doesn't outperform. And that's just the basis of diversification, as I've spoken about many times. There won't be one blockchain or one cryptocurrency to rule them all. You don't have to be tribalistic about this. Invest in many different ones so that you don't get wrecked or ruined in the market, and instead lower your bottom line risk. So in the meantime, all I've done is I've staked my Ethereum on BlockFi. Now I do have a recent partnership with BlockFi, so if you use the link in the description of this video, you will get a sign up bonus. Depending on how much you sign up with, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses. This is simply just a staking site, so you can lock up your Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Tether, whatever you want to lock up, and get paid a set APY of around 8.6%, which is the average depending on what you're locking up and for how you're locking it up. So if you have liquid Bitcoin, if you have liquid Ethereum that's simply sitting in your wallet and you are using it as a long-term hold, I'd highly recommend checking out BlockFi and staking your cryptocurrency there, because it does give you interest no matter what you do. Whether the market goes up or down, you'll still be earning on that cryptocurrency, especially if you're going to be holding it for the long term, which is what I intend to do. I believe that Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as a few others, are going to be the leaders in the market for the next 5-10 years. So if you are looking at that, lock it up and earn some money. We're also going to look at the possible bearish scenario for Bitcoin coming up. Some people are expecting Bitcoin to drop down to the 27K level, and that would spark a bearish reversal or some sort of bearish trend that many people are expecting. This article says that the foreseeable future, there are 3 technical levels, key technical levels for Bitcoin to play at: 34,500, 30,500, and the $27,000 levels, which again, I spoke about in previous videos. Those are the fib levels that it could drop below, and if it does break below those, then that could potentially spark a bearish trend reversal, which I don't think would happen really. We have seen some bit of a major correction recently that did really help reset many of the factors that were sparking the idea that we're currently in a bubble, which I don't believe we are in yet. We're still very early to the market. This is the absolute beginning of the bull market, so I don't truly believe that we'll drop that low. It is a possibility, but I'm leaning more to the upside, and I do believe that Bitcoin has more upside. Although for the rest of the market to actually perform quite well, we'd like Bitcoin to stay around the $35,000 to $38,000, $40,000 level for a couple weeks, which would allow the market to breathe a little bit, and altcoins and Ethereum will have some room to run, and perhaps then that's when we will see Ethereum reach its next all-time high, possibly of $2,200, maybe even $3,000 in the coming weeks. And to support this, we can see that we are still getting major institutional investment in Bitcoin, preventing this major downside movement and instead perhaps stabilizing the price. So Grayscale added 18 times the Bitcoin mine supply in one day to their holdings. At one stage in Q4 of 2020, Grayscale were buying $251 million of Bitcoin on average per week in Q4 of 2020. And last week they did $700 million in one day, and today $590 million. And that is why I'm still incredibly bullish on the entire cryptocurrency market as a whole. Many people are saying that there's a potential bear market coming, the bubble's going to pop very soon. I don't really believe that. As you can see, Bitcoin is forming this major triangle here, and if we do break out, I've got a feeling we might break out more towards the upside, or we'll continue ranging for a little while before then moving back up again and testing that new all-time high and possibly surpassing it all the way up to the $55,000, $50,000, $55,000 level before either then retracing a little bit back down to say the $30,000, $40,000 level again. If that does happen, the rest of the market might have a breather as well, where we don't see major movements while Bitcoin is having its next run. But I don't think that will happen until Ethereum surpasses its previous all-time high, which again could happen at the end of this video or by the time this video has been uploaded. But that's it from me. If you did like the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on all of those bell notifications, and as always, I shall see you in the next video. Cheers.